Okay, so I was just asking myself, I said, what's the difference from yesterday and today? How I had all these, messages flowing through me, and I had all these aha moments and things of that sort. And the day, it was like a slow process. I wasn't picking up on nothing. And I said, let me think back to what I did earlier. And what I did earlier, how I started off my morning, is that I was having certain thoughts, right? And then I started listening to music, and my mind was not focused on content. It was focused on just vibing to music while I was doing my work today. And that lowered my frequency because I was tuned in to like just chilling, not really receiving, not really contemplating on anything to get a better understanding of it. And it lowered my frequency because yesterday when I went to the grocery store, I really had a lot of messages just flowing in nonstop. And also when I walked out the store, I said, oh my goodness, what is this? Like how I was seeing things, it was like in slow motion, and it looked like real different. I can't explain it. I can't describe it either, but when I looked at it, I said, oh my God, something is happening due to, my brain wave frequency. It shifted my consciousness, and it had me looking at things in I ain't gonna say it was distorted, but it's like I almost pierced through the veil with my natural eyes. And I said, well, let me pick up my phone and talk about this, because I'm like, what was that? But it had something to do with how I was focused on certain things yesterday, and today I wasn't focused on me. And so what I mean by me is like, with the things that I normally allow myself to be tuned into. I didn't do any of that today. I was just free flowing, and I was more in the external today than the internal. And so it felt real foreign, like I was somebody different. But I was somebody different because of the stuff that I was tuned into. And I said, that's what it is. But I should have been knowing that, because that's all I talk about is, it's about your focus. It's about, your inner images. And today I didn't have any inner images, but I was more out of myself today than in myself. And so it changed the way I perceive things today. It changed the way things were orchestrated today, as far as my inner focus. And so my inner focus, it dictates what is happening around me. And I saw this with my own two eyes. And when it happens, I can feel it. It ain't nothing you can actually describe. It's a feeling that happens. Something happens within your consciousness, meaning within how your brain starts to process things. It processes things on a whole different level. But with how I understand a lot of the information that be coming in, I be better able to explain it when it comes in. I know that this probably ain't making sense, but I'm just trying to recap about today and yesterday, because it was a difference. Because I'm like, and then also before I pulled the truck in, to lock the doors and all of that, I had pulled the truck to the door to unload the batteries. And while I was unloading the batteries, the check engine light came on the truck. I said, the check engine light came on in my car yesterday morning. And I'm like, what is that about? The check engine light. Because nothing happens for no reason. And I'm like, okay, this is not a coincidence with the check engine light being on. And the truck, the job truck, and my personal vehicle. So like I said, I be paying attention to things. And also, I had a conversation earlier. I made a video about, this particular, it ain't a problem, but it's just something that I, became aware of when it came to, a certain individual. And I'm like, okay, well, if their mindset is tuned into a lot of low frequency things, and I was trying to have a conversation with them about a lot of high frequency things, and what I mean by that is that how me having balance and order in my life, and me having clarity, and me not wanting to solely depend on others, to give me opportunity as far as me not being creative and me not offering anything. This is what I mean by you being high. That you are offering things in order for you to have a better experience, in order for you to be able to interact with individuals that are more on the career base. And what I mean by that, they are independent, not solely dependent on job, but they dependent on their creative abilities to open up doors and pave the way for new opportunities to come in towards their way. But like I said, when I talk about the telekinetic power and your focus, all that is doing is it's magnetizing things, that certain opportunities to come your way due to the things that you already given yourself, which is your inner focus. The things that you know about yourself that you want to experience, the things that you know about yourself that you have been allowing yourself to be more stagnated in, and you have released yourself from those spaces. Now, with an individual becoming aware of certain things in their life on a lower, consciousness level, they do have, I don't want to say time, but it's a process for you to start, releasing certain frequencies and certain thought processes from your inner. But the number one thing that I wanted to mention in this video was that I noticed that it was a shift in my frequency due to the fact that I wasn't focused on, the things that I normally focus on. And so it was just a documentation of me realizing that your focus is very, very important when it comes to you, magnetizing or bringing in things with your mind due to how steady or how consistent you focus on particular things. Because the moment you allow yourself to get distracted by external things, those are the things are creating your next experience, within your awakened moment. And what I mean by the awakened moment is that you are conscious of that things are happening within your surroundings due to the fact that your mind is bringing in, it's magnetizing those exact things that you are paying attention to, whether internally or externally. But this is why when you are awoke to who you are, you have to stay focused on yourself. And I'm telling myself this because I realize what has happened within my day today, and I'm like, oh wow, it's just that easy for people to become possessed and hypnotized in a mental state that they think that has been, consistent, or they think that has been normal, but within every observation or within every interpretation or a solid thought that you have within your head, like I said, it ain't really the thought. It's just something that is trying to distract you. A thought that you didn't consciously have. It's just something that's, distracting you from you creating this specific thing. I don't even want to say creating. You selecting a specific thing that is going to be more beneficial for you than unfavorable for you. I just had to say this. I was kind of getting a little tripped up because I'm like, okay, I know what I'm saying, but my mind is doing things right now. It's not, it's not here in this moment. Like, a lot of times when I make my videos, it's like something is telling me what to say and how to say it. But now, this is just me having an observation of my day. So it's me having to remember things and talk about the things that I remember, instead of me having a message, and that message is just flowing and I'm just listening and I'm repeating what that message is telling me to say. So this is why it sounds like I'm having, well, I know I am, I'm having, interference, or I'm just rambling with all my words right now, because that's exactly what I'm doing. But I had to say this to myself because I realized that when I'm to myself, when I'm focused on, content, or when my mind is in a certain brainwave, frequency, then it allows me to be more in that space that I feel like that is naturally me. And when I'm saying naturally me, is that I don't have any situations that are troubling me at that moment in time to pay attention to, because it's like everything is already handled for me due to my focus. So when I allow my focus to be split or to be distracted, then that is something that is going to show up for me to be able to see that I took my focus off of, my vision, myself, and, this particular thing that's very important to me. But I'm gonna go to cut this off because I done said enough.